Welcome to this week's live video and welcome back. Uh, so, what are we seeing so far this year in the global competition for standing between the US and China? Well, China is moving into the pole position around the world as countries react to the chaos of Trump's tariffs and also threats of military attacks against both friends and foe. That's drawing a host of world leaders to visit Beijing. Um, Earlier this month, we had South Korea's Lee Jae-myung. Right now, we have Canada's Mark Carney in Beijing. Very shortly, the UK's Keir Starmer will be there, and Germany's Friedrich Merz is expected to visit as well in the coming weeks. Take Carney's visit right now. It's the first visit by a Canadian PM or Prime Minister in 8 years. Carney appears to be very eager to mend ties with China. The bilateral ties between the two countries, Canada and China, have been in the doghouse for quite a few years now, ever since Canada arrested a Chinese executive, Meng Wanzhou of Huawei, in 2018 at the US's behest. And Canada and China responded by arresting two Canadian citizens, the so-called two Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig, and held them in detention for 3 years. So what's the imperative for Canada right now? Canada is feeling vulnerable given that 75% of its exports go to the US and it's facing new tariffs from the Trump administration. And who knows if more will come down the road. Carney has said that he intends to double exports to other countries over the next 10 years. Then there have been Trump's repeated taunts about making Canada the 51st state, something that Canadians, not surprisingly, have found deeply insulting. And now they're probably taking more seriously after the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro and renewed U.S. threats against Greenland. So what did Carney say today in Beijing? Quote, "We're heartened by the leadership of President Xi Jinping and the speed with which our relationship has progressed." Um, he added, "It sets the stage for these important discussions on a wide range of issues where we can be strategic partners, from energy to agriculture to people ties, multilateralism to issues on security." This is a dramatic shift towards warming in a relationship between Canada and China. So, more broadly, we have a new poll out from the European Council on Foreign Relations showing just how dramatic this shift is in the global standing of the US and of China. The poll of 26,000 respondents included 13 European countries, the US, China, India, Russia, Turkey, Brazil, South Africa, and South Korea. It found majorities in almost every place surveyed expect China's influence to grow over the next decade. 83% believe that in South Africa, 72% in Brazil, 63% in Turkey, even in the US. More than half of Americans, 54%, believe China's influence will grow. In the 54 in the US, 53 amongst the 10 EU states believe China's influence will grow, 51% in India, 50% in the UK. Interestingly, no one expressed that much worry about China's growing influence. Only in Ukraine and South Korea did majorities view China's growing power as or view China as a rival or an adversary, where they would fear its growing power. More people in South Africa, India, and Brazil say China is an ally now than said that 2 years ago. And while a host of nations believe that the U.S. will continue to be influential, there are none of them was there a majority that believed that the U.S.'s influence will actually grow. You also see increasingly favorable views of China, um, and the status of the U.S. has declined across all the countries surveyed. The only country where a majority still see the U.S. as an ally, the only country, is India. So that's the report card for the beginning of our year. China clearly emerging globally as a more serious rival, and indeed as uh, uh, a country that's influence will continue to grow uh, over the next 10 years. That's it for this week. Tune in next week at the same time. Thanks.